everyone, my name is Dee Youmans. Thank you for joining me today. I'm excited to be working with Arts4All Florida to bring art to your home. And today we will be going Greek, looking at Greek pottery and decorating our own amphora. Supplies needed will be a piece of white paper, and you can use a light color construction paper as well. Some color markers, pencils, or crayons. A Sharpie marker or pencil or eraser to draw with. And then if you're going to be drawing your own amphora, you might want to have something to use as a circle template. One of the great gems here in Central Florida is the Tampa Museum of Art. One of the most famous collections there is of Greek artwork. Now, the golden age of Greeks was a long time ago, about 2,500 years ago, and that's 500 to 300 BC. This collection has many pieces of artwork that are utilitarian objects. Utilitarian objects were objects that were made to be used. Each shape had a purpose. And the artwork from the Greeks the ancient Greeks were what I call the Tupperware of the ancient world. Now we look at our Tupperware and we can use it for almost anything. But the pottery from ancient Greece was used for specific purposes. The first one we're going to look at is a lekythos. A lekythos was used for holding olive oil. And olive oil was used in their lamps, they cooked with it, and they anointed themselves with it with perfume. Now the tiny top on this lekythos has a very tiny hole, so that when they poured that olive oil out, not a lot would come out because it was so precious. They didn't want to waste any. They also used olive oil for offerings for their gods. And you can tell what this one was used for by the picture on the front. We have a man and a woman putting a lyre, which is a stringed instrument, and a lekythos into a tomb. So this would have been used as a tomb offering. The next one we're going to look at is a crater, and a crater was a mixing bowl. So the potter would create this large bowl. He would add handles and the foot, and then he would pass it on to the painter or the artist. And the artist would paint black figure, which was slip in clay, and paint those black figures on. This is one of the older of the styles of the Greek pottery. He would then take a tiny tool and scrape through into the clay, thus creating the lines and the details we see. The next is the amphora, and the amphora was the most popular pot in the ancient world. They had lids sealed with honey or wax, and they were used for holding water, wine, or dry goods. Now this one has a centerpiece of Athena, and Athena is the goddess of war. So we have her holding her shield and her spear. This one was used for the Panathenea festivals. The Panathenea festivals was the first Olympics. So the Greeks would have the Athena on one side, and then on the other side would have what the event was for. So when we look at our bands, we have a top band, a central figure, and then we have a bottom band. So we're going to create our own amphora. Today I'm going to use the pre-printed amphora, but you can also draw your own if you wish. And we're going to start with this top band. So the top band is going to be decorated with patterns. And a pattern is a repeated shape or design element. So here I've got some different patterns we can use, from squiggle lines to X's, circles, dashes, diamonds. So I'm going to take my Sharpie marker because I like to use Sharpie. It gives me a very definite edge. And I'm going to put in some diamonds. And that's the design that I've chosen for the top of my pot. So you can see where I've put in my little design there. And I'm going to add some little circles at the bottom, just to give it a little bit more of oomph, like that. Now the middle section was usually a scene of their gods or goddesses, like Athena, or it could be something that was just an everyday scene. So let's think in terms of what we like to do. Do you like to bike ride or play baseball, or do you like to cook or garden or read? So we want to put a scene in there of something we like to do. So I like to garden, so I'm going to put some flowers in from my garden. And I'm going to do some large shapes, and I'm going to do some smaller shapes to fill up my center section there. Maybe add some leaves and even a butterfly. My garden sometimes has butterflies. Okay. Now the bottom section also had pattern. And what we could try is doing the meander pattern. And this was a famous pattern that the Greeks used over and over. They put it in their architecture, they put it in their pottery. So I'm going to try and do a very simple one. Down there at the bottom, as you can see. Now the Greeks really were limited on their color because they had the clay, which was black or orange and some white, and those are really the only three colors they used. So let's think in terms of picking maybe 3 colors to use on our pot. So I've got purple and orange, and I'm going to also pick maybe a dark blue. So I'm going to start out by just coloring, and it's up to you what your pot looks like. It's up to you how you color it, because you can color it any color you want. Remember, in art there are no rules. You can color it and design it whatever way you want. Now you'll notice if you're using color pencil that if you press harder with the color pencil, you get a darker color. So it's according to how hard you press as to the value, and the value is the lightness or darkness of a color. So we've learned 2 words today. We've learned pattern, which is a repeating shape or design, and then we've also used value, which is a lightness or darkness of a tone. So you can color your pot any way you like. Make it whatever colors you want. Put your own design in that amphora. So I hope you'll think about visiting the Tampa Museum of Art, even if it is online, because they do have a wonderful collection there. And it is a great tour if you do get to go on a tour there. So I have a pot finished. I'll show you what it looks like. Here's my pot I've had colored. And you can see my design at the top, and I tried the meander pattern there at the bottom. Great job, everyone! Thanks for watching Arts4All Florida's Spotlight on Art. I hope you enjoyed doing this together as much as I did. If you like this video, please comment below and share it with a friend. We love to hear from you, and feel free to post your own creations on social media. Remember to tag us by using our handle at Arts4All Florida. That's Arts, the number 4, All Florida. See you next time.